people think, I'm going on a raw detox. I'm going to just cut all this stuff out of my diet. Your body will freak out. Hey, veggie lovers. I am finally at the conclusion of my raw detox. I didn't plan how long I would do it. I just know that I wanted to do it and just do it until my body felt different. And so now I'm at the end of my raw detox. I have started to reincorporate cooked foods, and so I'm going to talk to you a bit about the raw detox and show you my journey with raw detoxes. Let's start with the definition. So, according to the dictionary, detox is defined as a regimen or treatment intended to remove toxins and impurities from the body. It's also known as a cleanse, which is a restrictive period where, again, you're removing toxins from your body. So there's not a lot of research on actual detoxes or cleanses done in humans shown to have benefit, but there are so many different testimonies, personal testimonials, including from your Gershwin Institute and True North Fasting Center about the benefits of doing detoxes to rid your body of toxic things. A lot of traditional detoxes were to remove drugs or alcohol or those type of intense hurtful substances, but we're at a day and age where food, pollution, all of these other things in the environment can contribute to adding toxins in our body and throwing the body's balance off from functioning optimally. So I wanted to do a raw detox, trying to get to a point in health where I felt as close to 100% as possible, and also I had some lab results that were a bit abnormal, and I wanted to go into the provider confident that, hey, my body's in a good place. I want to function to the best of my ability with this creation, with this shell that God has given me. So that's why I did my detox. It's still considered raw food if it's dehydrated at temperatures no higher than 115. Some people will say 117. I stuck with 115. And for me, I already don't consume animal products, excluding honey. I do use honey. And with my raw detox, I took out the cooked foods, anything that was processed, which there's debate. Some people will say anything you eat is processed, but for me, process is, did it look like this when it came from the seed? So I didn't have popcorn, I didn't have certain foods that were cooked in oil. Like if I bought a food, it had to be dehydrated, or I dehydrated it myself, which it was neat. I bought and found some really cool snacks that were from dehydration. I did not do a plethora of grains like I usually do, and definitely found a lot of changes there because, one, if you don't cook grains, your body doesn't process them as well, but also you start to realize that more fruits and veggies are just easier on the body. They're easier to consume. They're more comfortable for your tummy. because if you start having very high starchy foods, it will be hard to digest. Some of the symptoms I had were I had low energy starting off, I had a fever, body aches, I did have some breakouts. That was just for the first couple of days. As time progressed, I had a lot more energy. I also quit caffeine during this period. Every now and then I have a cup of green tea, but I have not had coffee in a long time. And when I say every now and then, I've had 2 cups of green tea in 2.5, 3 months. So there's that. But increased energy, my skin became even clearer. Some people have even complimented my skin saying that, hey, you have a glow about you. Thank you. I had more clear headedness, which I started to see too as I went back to cooked foods. I don't know that I'll do a lot of grains or whole wheats, even moving forward. I'll do them in minimal increments versus them being a heavy part of different meals throughout the day. I think clearer when I have just fruits and veggies or nuts and seeds or even some proteins, like I'll do a lot of lentils or chickpeas or soybeans versus when I have grains. And I still think pretty clearly, but it's just more intact. I got up earlier. Just my energy, I will say, there was more energy for running, different things like that, but my weightlifting, that definitely took me a little more motivation to get into. With detoxing or cleansing, when you look into that research, you'll also find a lot about intermittent fasting, which is a lot of controversy on intermittent fasting. I say try something for yourself and see how your body reacts to it. Because with intermittent fasting, what they found is for the studies that are there, there's a certain window, and it really isn't great to have it extended most of the day. It varies for the time period that works for certain people. With intermittent fasting, sometimes groups also found benefits for just alternative day fasting where they did a complete 24-hour. Again, there's not a lot of literature where they were actually able to do human research on the benefits, but again, it goes based off of a lot of personal testimonials. So overall, really it goes back to eating a healthy plant-based diet. Not saying you have to completely cut out meats, that's just me, but with having more plants, people tend to have better outcomes health wise. Also, Harvard research found that the Mediterranean diet, which is plant based but also has healthy fats and healthy carbs versus your refined carbs or your fats that are mostly oils or added saturated fat, but healthy fats from nuts, seeds, your avocado, and other different plant based sources. We're healthy. So that's the diet I abide by most of the time without even knowing that that was the actual diet that people have been doing for years. That's just something my body started to, with elimination and trial and error, really feel better with. So that's what Harvard research found. Harvard research also found, with back to referencing detoxing or cleansing the body of toxins, irrigation, nasal irrigation, or the neti rinse is very helpful for ridding bacteria that lies in your sinuses and in your nasal passages. And I will say this, when I went vegan a few years ago, I was prior to, I was diagnosed with chronic rhinitis, which is chronic inflammation in my nasal passages. Fast forward, after really cutting out dairy and other things out of my diet, I wasn't having that chronic inflammation in my nasal passages anymore. And then I discovered neti rinsing, and I had neti rinse not even on a schedule, maybe every other week, some weeks more often than not. And I don't have any chronic sinus issues like I used to. And my issues were bad. I used to have to get Zyrtec D, which is a prescribed Zyrtec because of the something chemical that they use for making meth, which you need your license and everything to get it. And I took it on a routine basis, and even if I had to double up sometimes, I would go back and get it, and they couldn't give it to me within a certain amount of time. And it was crazy. And I noticed after I wasn't having it, I was having withdrawal symptoms. I was addicted to Zyrtec D, prescribed by my provider because of having those chronic sinus issues. But what I never knew was, well, if I'm not eating inflammatory foods that keep my sinuses inflamed, I won't have the rhinitis, which is itis, inflammation of my nasal passages. I just had to clear up my diet. That's crazy, right? So, other good side effects I've experienced: regulation of my period, which is already pretty regulated. I know what time of month I'm going to come on, but I will say during this process, I was really, really able to learn more about my body. One, when I eat minimally during that first day, menstrual cramps are basically non existent. There are some, but they worsen with consumption, honestly, when I eat anything throughout my period, like for that first day. I can have a smoothie, I can have maybe a couple pieces of fruit, but beyond that, the cramps will intensify. And if I have anything that is not natural in its natural form, oh, they are there. They're very present. And I would have to take medicine. But during this period, I haven't taken any medicine for menstrual cramps. So those are some of the side effects, some good, bad things related to, for me, related to the raw detox. And there are some honorable mentions because a lot of people have bloating. A lot of people think, I'm going on a raw detox. I'm going to just cut all this stuff out of my diet. Your body will freak out. Hands down, your body's going to freak out. Your body's going to say, this is a lot of fiber. I don't have all of the enzymes. Even though the digestive enzymes are there, there's not enough variety in those digestive enzymes because it's not used to breaking down all that fibrous food. So a lot of people will get very bloated. For me, because I typically have a lot of fresh food daily, it wasn't as bad. Now, the first time I went on a raw detox, like years ago, oh gosh, I looked pregnant. I was so bloated, and I was not pregnant. Yeah, definitely not pregnant. Impossible. But I was so bloated. And throughout this venture, yes, there are times where I'll have bloating, but it's very minimal. And I did a lot of certain things to the foods in preparation to consume them. For instance, if I was having lentils, I started sprouting. I also started sprouting other beans. It's the first time I've done this. And that helped with digesting them. Also, a lot of people will consume foods that are fermented. So, kombucha, not pairing certain foods, those different strategies help with minimizing bloating. And then just your body getting used to consuming a lot of varieties of foods that are very fibrous. Some people even take digestive supplements. And that's something I considered, but I wanted to just see what my body was capable of. So I did not. But again, those are just some take homes for my detox experience, and hopefully you will enter a journey of detoxification for yourself if it's right for you, or cleansing, or just overall having the best healthy diet and lifestyle that you can, because we want to function to the best of our abilities, do the things that we are designed to do in the best way we could do them. And to do that, we have to start with fueling our bodies. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later, veggie lovers.